Welcome to the Progressive Mind Show here. We are blessed to have on this edition of the Business Promotion Forum three wonderful gentlemen representing very important and critical organizations that are going to be speaking to us regarding what they do and how their services benefit you, vice versa, and also give us some education on how we can interact with their businesses. Okay, so we will go straight to the discussion. This gentleman have been waiting patiently here, and I would jump straight into the background. David Laundy is the chairman and the CEO. He's the chairman of the board and chief executive of Devon Bank. Devon Bank is situated right here in Chicago, on the Devon Street. Is that, yeah, and if you live in Chicago, you know what I'm talking about.
It's on Western, right around the corner from there.
Excellent. Now, he has an extensive background, and going through would end our show. So going through everything would, so I would, touch on one or two things, and then we move on to the other gentleman here. He has he's a 50, I'm not going to disclose his age without his permission. So he has worked as a law professor he worked as a law professor and law school administrator. He taught MBA program at DePaul University. He worked as a lawyer practicing in the fields of intellectual property and computer law with a focus on internet law issues. He met with his term limit, stepped down as an elected member of the board of directors of the Community Bankers Association of Illinois. He acted as he acted as a Chicago regional director, and he is the third generation of CBAI board member. I'm sorry, the writing here is not too clear, so please bear with me. David is also the past chairman of the Illinois State Bar Association of the Chicago Bar Association. I'll move to the next page. He has a bachelor's of science in arts and telecommunications from Purdue University and a Juris Doctorate from the University of Iowa College of Law. He passed those both professions or both disciplines with distinction. He has completed a postgraduate diploma program from the Institute of Islamic Bank, all right, and Islamic Banking and Insurance. He's earned the Ethica Institute certificate, recognized as the Islamic Finance Executive designation, and was previously he's also earned the Ethica Institute Advanced Certificate in Islamic Finance. Okay, he's also an executive in finance analysis designation, and the list goes on and on and on. Again, pardon me because I have not been able to critically look at everything in detail because of the writing. So please pardon me, David, and then the followers of David as well. The last thing that I want to mention about him though was that in 2003 he was elected as the chairman of Devon Bank, and in 2010 chairman of I'll take this again. I'm so sorry. David was elected to the board of directors of Devon Bank in March of 2023. He was elected as vice chairman in June of 2010 and became the chairman and CEO in March 2012. Okay, and he serves as the vice chairman. Okay, and so that would be for David Laundy. And then Johnny Otu, who is right to David, he attended the Aerospace Institute in Chicago, where he majored in aeronautical engineering. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and your patience, and welcome to the Progressive Mind Show.
And thanks for having me.
All right, and so apart from all that, all those huge credentials that you have, if you are not, briefly, 30 seconds, if you are not working, how do you ease stress? What do you do for fun? You like to watch sports? You like to go to the bar close to Devon Bank and have a drink after work? David, let's start with you.
Sleep.
Okay. And David has you want to talk about family? You want to talk about family a little bit so people get to know who David is related to in Chicago?
Happily married, 2 kids, live in the north suburbs.
Brilliant. You play sports, love sports?
I like to fence.
Okay.
But I have to lose some of the gross tonnage to get back into shape to do that.
All right, brilliant. Thomas.
So I think probably some time at the gym in the wintertime. Love to ice skate to relieve tension. And then I've been fortunate enough for the last 30 years to live and work downtown. So I walk to work almost every day of my life. So that's actually, no matter how cold it is. Sometimes I chicken out a little bit, but that's a great stress reliever and a mind clear. And so those are a couple of ways.
All right, two. That's how you get stressed. You get stressed out in the city of Chicago. That's brilliant. Johnny, please.
Yes. For me, I teach Chicago Public School. Boost more science, and that's how I get my fulfillment.
I hear you've been teaching STEM with a CPS for over how many years now?
Over 15 years. Okay. Just STEM alone. Yes.
So you like to teach to relieve stress.
Oh yeah.
To some, that's work.
Oh no, I love teaching.
Okay.
As some say that when you stop teaching, your life changes. I'm one of those. If I stop teaching, I'll be in trouble.
Yeah, I understand that. I taught at Columbia for 14 years, just one night a week, and I absolutely loved it. It was a blast.
Thomas, I think in the future you should take a program. You should do a show here. Your voice, obviously, it tells it all. I mean, the man has been a radio producer. You can tell, and a radio host. When he speaks, you know that that's a radio talk show speaking. Gentlemen, okay, we'll start with Thomas. What is BBB? What do you guys do? I see your signboard. I see your logo on companies and all that. And you want a Better Business Bureau. Okay. If you can take us through your functionality, why you exist in the first place.
Well, BBB is really important, especially in this day and age where it seems like trust has never been more important. BBB evaluates companies for people, for the consumers, and evaluates them and gives them a letter grade, and also has a spot up where you can give reviews. So when a consumer goes to purchase a product or a service, they can literally go to the BBB website and really get a good snapshot of this business and know who they're dealing with, which in the business marketplace has become really, really important.
And what would you say about the statistics? I mean, what kind of the statistics of the kinds of businesses from the different demographics that we have in the city of Chicago?
We see a broad diversity. We have a board of directors that makes up some of the biggest businesses in Chicago and some of the great leaders. And our demographics, we have over 9,000 businesses in the Chicago BBB. We still evaluate all business, but these are actually members of BBB, and they range from small one-person, two-person shops all the way up to giant corporations, so it is the full gamut. It's really the full gamut.
David, we want to know the statistics of credit unions and community banks and how. If you can tell us, what is the statistics of the number of course, of the stats on credit unions and small banks in the city of Chicago, if you may?
Well, nationwide, there's a little less than 6,000 credit unions and a little less than 5,000 banks.
Okay.
The Illinois banking market is the most fractionalized in the country. There's the most number of bank charters in Illinois than any other state.
Oh, all right. And would you want to tell us what how your bank is rating among the whole lot? If you don't want to disclose it, that's fine.
We're probably considered a medium-sized community bank.
Okay.
We're about $300 million in assets, not including things like mortgages that are off balance sheet.
Brilliant. Johnny Utu,
Yes, sir.
you started Global Ghana Airlines, which will go into details of your, the oncoming, your next inaugural flight. But let's go a little bit into, so you've been teaching, or you've been in the,
aerospace business?
Aerospace business for how many years?
86.
Okay, 1986.
I went to aerospace. I left aerospace. I went to Orlando, Florida, and did a little study, and then went down to San Francisco, where I was employed by American Airlines. The goal was to become a first officer during the time where 3-place airplanes were being faded out, which is now captain and first officer.
What's the first officer?
First officer is what you call a co-pilot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Co-pilot.
The
Okay.
second officer is a flight engineer, called a professional flight engineer, who works the third panel.
Okay.
This in the airplanes such as DC-10, the 747s, the 27s, and Lucky 1011s.
Mhm.
But those have pretty much been faded out. So to these airplanes are primarily a captain and a first officer.
Okay. Wow. And in your journey of being in the aerospace business, what would you say, or what are some of the organizations, the airline organizations that you have worked for and done some projects with?
Okay, there's a group called OBAB. Um, they are in Detroit, and their goal is to bring in, like Michael asked you, to bring to forefront aviation as the number grows in the bottom. Because in the 60s, the numbers were pretty great. I'll say pretty much about 66,000 individuals in aerospace.
Okay.
And when we say aerospace, it goes beyond those who are pilots and aircraft mechanics. There's medicine in aerospace. Most people don't know. Accounting, business, they all are in there.
Okay.
But with my affiliation with Chicago City Colleges and the public school is to introduce them to these careers that they never heard of.
Okay.
So there's more to aerospace. I'm also a member of the Aircraft and Pilots Association. They actually monitor the safety of smaller airplanes.
Okay.
They're also a representative in Congress.
Okay. So airline owners, do you own an airline?
Oh, I'm an airline owner now.
I'm sorry. No, my question, I went to ask, do you own an aircraft?
Yes. And I have two small trainers. Those are for beginners. You can't train anybody in a 747. That would never work.
Okay.
Okay. So we start them in a small package. But believe it or not, flying a smaller airplane is more challenging than the bigger ones.
Why?
Because the big ones are automated.
Oh, okay.
The small ones, all you have cables and pulleys, and you better get on top of it. Yes.
How challenging was it? How challenging was it for you when you were trying to set up this? Would you say when we spoke, I think you mentioned that you were the first African,
yes,
to have opened an airline, an airline school
in Midwest.
Okay, in the Midwest? How difficult was that for you?
You know, I saw it as an industry, and the challenges within the aerospace community. If you don't know, you just don't know.
Okay.
Because aviation is a well-kept secret. It used to be only military. If you are in aviation, you assume that you have to go in the military to be in aviation. I broke that barrier. I make it to the public. I go to schools and spoke. I went to city colleges and spoke. And that's where the interest started. And then when they did well enough, I introduced them to other areas in aviation that has those programs. Aviation law is one of them. Lewis University, Missouri, has what they call aeromedicine. Most people don't even think about aeromedicine. Well, what is aeromedicine? How has the aerospace help us?
Okay.
For example, if you have to have a broken leg, and you go to the doctor, chances are you have pains in that leg.
Okay.
Well, human beings walk in three dimensions: forward, backwards, and side to side. So in the aeromedicine, they will design what is now called an airbag, that the individual have the airbag around the leg, which means she could go to work the next day.
Okay, the man is a teacher, so if we give him time, he's going to lecture us. He's going to lecture us. But no,
I tell you, we all are.
No, but that's brilliant.
Yes.
That we need this type of information. But David, I want to ask what are some of your corporate social responsibilities as a bank in a community such as the one you were situated in?
Well, as a bank, we help people do things that are the most important things in their lives.
Okay, like
saving for college, saving for weddings, buying a first home, starting and growing a business. That's what we do.
Okay.
And the community that our headquarters is in is the most ethnically diverse neighborhood in the country, supposedly.
Yeah.
And it allows
Chicago.
specifically Rogers Park. I mean, we have about 100 employees at the bank, and at any point in time, we speak between 25 and 35 languages at the bank. And that has helped us to resettle refugees, help people establish lives, bring family over from the old country, it's really been very rewarding for
A
us.
follow-up question to that. Well, how would you describe the work environment at Devon Bank?
It's very diverse.
Mm.
It's very accommodating. It's very flexible, and we have to be.
Someone said it's family oriented too. Like you feel at home, like they treat you like families. That's
I certainly hope so, because that's our goal.
Thomas, how do someone enroll with the BBB, and what are some of the criteria that you have to meet to be with the organization?
So you would go to bbb.org and you can register. Some of the criteria is how long have you been in business?
Okay.
Are you dealing with your customers in a trustworthy way?
Mhm.
Do you have complaints from customers? And one of the most important, are you answering those complaints?
Okay.
And are you answering them in a good way? We try to make sure that businesses all have the proper licensing, depending on what type of business is, and we establish a marketplace of trust. So the moment anybody in BBB doesn't answer a complaint, they're hearing from us because that's part of what it takes to stay in the BBB. If you get a customer complaint, we verify that it's somebody who has done business with you, and but we expect you to answer that in some way, shape, or form. And that I think has helped really set a lot of businesses apart. When you go and find, anyone can search our databases. They can go to bbb.org and look up almost any company, even if they're not in BBB. We still rate them and have customer reviews. And if you go that extra step, you really end up usually having a much better customer experience because it's somebody that you can trust and work with.
Would you accept the term police in that, you make sure the companies are treating customers fairly and vice versa?
Yes,
Right.
I agree because I have my experience, and it creates a platform for the customer and the service provider to argue their differences.
Okay.
Because customers don't always tell the truth, and the service provider doesn't always tell the truth. So
are you talking about personal experience with BBB?
my experience, yes.
Okay.
BBB.
So you've been with them for how many years?
Oh, well, I was enrolled in BBB in 94.
94. Okay.
Was
Okay.
under the flight school. And I've had in fact, one of my experience was I flew with a gentleman. I would work on demonstration flight.
Okay. You were training him.
I was training him.
Okay.
And we took the flight and came back, and we landed and said, I didn't like this flight. I didn't, so I'm not going to pay you. So I left it as is, but I kind of did a research on what other flight schools he's gone to and have done the same thing, and I filed a complaint.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you filed a complaint with BBB?
BBB against the individual.
Okay, yes. So Thomas, if something were a typical case in this scenario, you would follow up with that customer and follow up with him, Johnny, as well. I mean, the complainant and the file.
Yeah, especially for businesses, we make sure that the transaction actually occurred. We make sure that they actually had this, and then we look at both sides of the story. So if you have a couple of customer complaints against your business, we would get in contact with that business and say, hey, you need to answer these complaints. And if they do in a reasonable way, or if we find out there are problems in customers on occasions, the customer is not always right. They are most of the time. But sometimes there are just problems in
communication.
And so, but we make sure that they did business together. We get both sides of the story, and then we resolve the complaint. And if the business did something bad and doesn't resolve that complaint, it brings down their grade, and we encourage them to answer that complaint, and then their grade will come down accordingly if they don't.
So you would advise customers that if you want to check out a company, the first thing is to go through BBB, just look them up and see if they have good ratings with you.
I can't tell you. The old adage, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, is really important. Right. So please check the ratings and check the reviews of these companies, because what inevitably happens a lot, and we do a lot with the Chicago media on people who had really bad customer experiences. And the great majority of the time, these businesses are F-rated.
Right.
If they had gone to BBB and just looked them up, there's no charge for this service, by the way. You go to bbb.org and you enter the name of the company, and you'll find a business profile, and you'll also see some customer reviews in some cases. And most people who have really bad experience could have saved that by just taking 15 seconds and going to our website and looking up this company. We're a not-for-profit. We don't, we are a nonprofit that takes an even platform and gives everybody a chance to explain.
Quickly, if it's a startup, a new company, they've just been in existence for a year or two. I mean, let's say a year, and they don't have any reviews. Of course, they just started. I mean, how do you handle? And if I look up a new company, and of course they pop up or they don't pop up, what would of course as a customer I'll be iffy with that company, right? So with BBB, how would you handle that kind of situation, or what would be your advice if someone finds themselves in that situation?
So it's funny that you asked that, because I was with the CEO of a company today, and a lot of these companies who I've known from before I joined BBB, I asked them, when you were a startup sitting, when there was only 2 of you, and now there's hundreds of you, why did you join BBB? And they said, because we needed to build some kind of trust and reputation. And so once a company gets to 1 year, they can attain a BBB grade if they don't have any complaints, if they have the proper licensing. And from there, the time in business will help gradually bring up their grade. Okay,
we'll come back to you. But David, I would like us to know, we know the basic services and products that banks and financial institutions sell to customers all the time. But with your peculiar, with your bank, you were unique because you were the only Devon bank in the world. Tell us some of the products and services that you sell to customers and clients.
Well, as you mentioned, we're a bank, and we do things that banks do.
Okay.
Where we really bring distinction is more creativity and flexibility and community responsiveness.
Okay.
So a lot of the products and services that we've designed have been things that our customers have asked us to do. We're one of the larger financiers of churches, synagogues, and mosques, for instance.
Okay.
And in Deuteronomy, there are things that say you should not deal in interest. And certain religious groups take prohibition on interest very seriously. So we have created non-interest-based products to finance things like equipment and building acquisitions. We've worked with community groups who have said, we've got this project and other institutions don't really care, and we need somebody who's going to help us. So we've created things like gap-filling student loan programs and resettlement programs, bringing in refugees at one point. We're currently working on a series of charitable products where if you take your debit card and you swipe it for $2.60 at Starbucks, it actually hits your account for $3. It's intended as a savings product where the extra 40 cents gets shunted aside, but we're using it as a micro contribution product. So if you want to have the WGHC card, you could be the recipient of the 40-cent roundup and use that as a way to raise micro contributions from suitably inclined customers of yours that want to contribute. Those are the kinds of things that we're trying to do that are a bit different and non-commodity that distinguish us from other banks.
That is very unique, and there is no, for clarity's sake, so you don't charge interest for this religious institutions that come to you for loans. Well, to put it in layman's terms, is that what it is?
It is structured to be a non-interest-based product.
Okay.
People sometimes get this confused. That doesn't mean we can't profit from it.
Okay.
So it may be a rent-to-own transaction, but you are not renting money, you are renting a property.
Okay.
And at that point, we have to own the property and sell it and rent it to our customers. So it's a distinct structure that's religiously acceptable to them.
Apart from religious bodies, which you mainly focus on, do you work with, of course, startups, not-for-profits?
We do a lot with nonprofits. We don't do as much for startups. simply because if they haven't established themselves fairly well, it's kind of hard for us to lend to them.
You saw his reaction?
Of course. Banking is an exercise in risk management. And if you've got assets, if you've got a history, if you've got cash flow, then you are showing us that you're less risk and that it's manageable. If you come in and say, I've got this great idea, the answer is yes, and the last 20 people that failed it did too.
Right, okay.
So we're careful about that.
All right, okay.
And the reason why I made a gesture is that if banks don't take risk,
Sure.
then how do businesses actually go through the startup and show at the other end to be profitable?
Okay, so that was my co-host right there. Because he did the questioning for me. Thank you so much. Please.
No, that is a very real concern. And a lot of it is, what's your plan? How have you thought about this? Do you have backup plans if things go wrong? Have you lined up resources? Have you lined up partners that can help you? Have you started saving before you started the business so that you can weather the storm if something goes wrong? There is a world of difference between somebody who wants to start a business, who has established themselves, and somebody who just wants to start from the very beginning. And you're right, the people who want to start from the very beginning may have great ideas, they may become very successful, but ultimately, if you come to a bank, we are borrowing money from our customers, and we are lending it to other customers. So we have to be good stewards of our depositors' money as well as being lenders. So maybe you need to go to Lending Club first and then come down. Maybe you need to get a partner who's been around and has some equity in their home. No, to be serious about it, not everybody should start a business. And what we can do is we can help people plan. And what you want is not just somebody who's going to give you money, but somebody who's going to help build a network, somebody who can give you advice. And that's where an entity can really add value, whether it's a bank or another lender or a consultant or a partner, any of those people.
It's very good that you mentioned that. You mentioned, David, the point that you made regarding not everybody. Business is not for everybody. But yes, but of course, in this wave and even the government of the United States, this country is encouraging small businesses. Like it's encouraging people to be entrepreneurs. Actually, it's more profitable for people who want to start business. So there's this wave of I want to do my own thing. Everybody trying to be an entrepreneur, right? So it's very important that you mentioned that it's not for everybody, even though that looks like the norm and everybody's doing it. You don't have to just do it because everybody is. But the most important thing is to seek help, right? To plan well and to get the connections, to test the waters, to see if this venture might be good for you in the first place.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
Please.
Back in '98, I was in the dream of starting an airline. And I didn't want to start with anything big. I want to start an airplane called Shift. It carries about 16 people. But I had to study what was the best product. I've just seen the change in Federal Express. I saw the change in UPS. Actually, Federal Express was started by the United Airlines employee who was using a Cessna 172 to move its cargo because United got out.
He was using what?
A Cessna 172.
What is it?
A four-place airplane.
A four-place
airplane.
Okay.
Four seat airplane.
Not all of us are engineers. So break it down small for us. Here comes a question from Sierra Miller. She says, first question for Thomas. Is Bbb responsible for the restaurant ratings in New York City? A few years back, each restaurant was required to post its grade outside of the building so that consumers could have a choice as to whether they wanted to spend their money there?
No, that must have been a different rating system. We do have restaurants in the BBB, and they do get grades, which they're happy to do. A lot of restaurant owners don't like other services because they can get bad reviews for very little reason. But we do rate restaurants, and those ratings are up on bbb.org. But that was not us that had that requirement. It could have been another service or a New York City ordinance. Sometimes cities will actually grade on different health and cleanliness and that type of thing. So I remember hearing about that program, but that was not a Better Business Bureau program.
Okay. Sierra, I hope that answers your question satisfactorily. Just wanted to throw this out there that David, Thomas has to leave us within the next 15 minutes or so due to other business duties. And so we're going to try and get a lot from his firm regarding his organization. But if you want to call in now because he has to leave, it's 773-942-7167. If you have a question for Thomas. If you have a question for Thomas in particular for now, and I actually just have to open it. Thomas first, and then if you want to touch or talk to any of the gentlemen here, please go ahead. 773-942-7167. And if you come on the Facebook page, please remember to share the feed so a lot of us can benefit from the information we're sharing and trying to learn sharing today. So I wanted to ask you, Thomas, if there are statistics regarding Black-owned businesses versus other ethnic groups, if you have that.
We don't break it down like that, but we reach all types of businesses. Everything. We go out on Small Business Saturday. We go out into the neighborhoods, and we'll run across everything from plumbers to bakers to giant car dealerships to major corporations. So it spans a lot. I would say that at least 50% of our businesses are small businesses, probably 1 to 5 people. And so it's really heartening to go out into the neighborhoods and see these different business owners who really make trust and customer ethics really a high priority in their business. There's a study out that was put out by the Center for Mission Driven Leaders, and it was put out by Benedictine, and they have a whole practice out there for people to be more mission driven business owners, and they found that in the long term, not only is it good business practices, but they've done deep research, and companies who follow mission and trust and values actually end up profiting significantly more over a few year period and in the long term. So it's actually good business from a profitability standpoint as well.
I've always wondered what, how everybody has credit, right? And there are certain behaviors that when you, certain things that when you do, it impacts heavily on your credit and all that. What is it for businesses? Is it customer service? Is it the mode of operation? What is it for business?
Customer service has become a really huge differentiator in American business, from what we can tell. From what we see, from what we hear, people want to go and deal with companies that they can trust. They want to deal with banks that they can trust. Devon Bank is one of our great accredited businesses, as an example, and they want to do business with people that they don't have to worry about going back and trying to resolve some kind of complaint.
Right.
And so businesses have a tendency to really answer BBB complaints because they carry a lot of weight, and so trust, customer service has become hugely important. And I think a lot of great business owners really take their mission serious too, and actually give back and are involved in the community.
Having been with BBB for so many years, have you once in your career with BBB encountered any customer related issue with sister acts company, Sister Act Airlines, or the ISO? No, I want to find out if it's ever come across anything regarding your company, because of course you mentioned Devon,
Right.
But in your career there, have you encountered any customer issue regarding Sister Act? Wasn't it? I'm just trying to get a name correctly here. It's Sister Act Aviation School.
For me?
No, for no, sorry, no, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Sister City International Airlines. Yes.
Oh, actually, I don't. Nothing springs to mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
I'm not jumping yet.
No, I wanted to.
No.
I wanted to be sure. And the training school is also called ISO Aeronautics Training School.
Institute, yes.
Okay, ISO Aeronautics Training Institute. Within your 15 years, in your 80 years, right, of being 15 years or so with the BBB?
Oh, actually, I've only been with BBB for about 2.5
2.5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you had any complaints with ISO Aeronautics Training Institutes?
Not,
you have come
not
across?
to my knowledge.
Not to your knowledge.
Not to my
Okay.
knowledge.
Chop.
No,
Yeah.
look, I wanted to be fair. He gave props to Devon.
Yes.
You know.
Now, let me give props back.
Okay, go ahead.
For us, we joined BBB, and there's an important reason why, which is anybody can complain about anybody on the internet nowadays.
Okay.
But we can't necessarily respond publicly with somebody's financial details. So if you complain about us on Facebook, we can't say, oh yeah, well, if you could actually keep money in your account, you wouldn't be bouncing checks and then you wouldn't be complaining. Yeah, we can't say that.
Right, exactly.
But they provide a forum to take disputes where we can hash it out that is not in the public eye and get it resolved fairly. And that's worthwhile for a business when they don't have to air all their dirty laundry or their customers' dirty laundry, as the case may be in public.
In our case, we are regulated by the FAA, so we watch our back.
I was going to ask you, so you tell me the government regulations that you fall under, and then David as well.
So for us, as you mentioned, ground training, that's required. The student or individual has to go through ground training.
So the name of the federal regulation that you fall under is what?
Right, it's FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration.
Okay.
That's
okay. Apart from that, is there any other regulatory body?
NTSB.
Okay.
The National Transportation and Safety Board.
Okay.
That's another.
Okay.
And both of them have their rules and regulations that we have to follow. And if we don't follow, your certificate is in jeopardy. It could be cited.
If someone were to go to FAA and look up Sister City International, they'll find it.
They'll find it.
They'll find it.
Yes.
And then if they look up the ISO Aeronautics Training Institute, they'll
That's
find
the
it.
same. Yes.
The same thing.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Brilliant. And then your bank is regulated by, of course, the FDIC.
The FDIC, the state of Illinois, a whole alphabet soup of regulators. Their fingers in our business.
There are a ton of them, right?
Yes.
Okay. But the major ones, SEC too?
The SEC, if we're selling stock in the bank, for instance,
Okay.
but not the day-to-day operations.
All right. Okay. The phone lines has been open. It's again 773-942-7167. And that was a question that was posed to Thomas. Just want to go back to Facebook to make sure we don't have any other questions. Patience Afonio says that, okay, she's saying hello to the guests. She says, hello, guests. You are all such an inspiration. Keep up the good work. And then Vanden Denzel is also here with us. Okay. Well, we will go back to Thomas before he takes leave of the show here today. It's been great. You provided us with a lot of information and giving us good responses to the questions. But can any organization enroll with BBB? And apart from BBB, what do you have? Let me put it this way: do you have a competitor? I mean, anybody that's doing something that BBB is. I mean, the same thing that you guys are doing.
BBB is very unique in the fact that it's a nonprofit.
Mhm.
It's all local. It's actually people on the street. It's actually people processing complaints, going through reviews. So there are other ways that people can post reviews and complaints about the company, but BBB is really unique. Everything we do is verified. We try to provide an even platform to basically get complaints resolved. We really strive after people to get their complaints resolved, and so it's just a really strong bond of trust between customer and business.
That takes us to the next question. How do you get them to resolve? So someone's asking, first of all, how do you resolve the issue with the customer, and then two, how do you maintain or improve? I mean, if I have an issue, somebody reports about my organization, how do I go about resolving that with the customer? And how does that improve my ratings with you? And if there are any monthly fees?
So to be in BBB, one of the stats that I heard today was about 17% of incoming revenues in the BBB we have to turn down because somebody tries to get into BBB, then they look in their background, and we literally reject a great deal of businesses. There is a fee roughly of about $50 a month for small businesses to be into BBB, but that provides a great deal of benefits to the business owners, as well as gives them a really good background, really good background of trust. We get people to resolve. If you are in BBB, we demand that you answer your complaints. It's part of it's part of being a member of BBB. You can't have unresolved complaints. That actually brings your grade down.
Okay. Well, you of course you're about the time's about up now. Give us your last words. What would you want business owners to know, apart from what we've talked about today? What would you want the business world to know and customers to know about? I mean, regular folks to know about the BBB.
This has been a wild era of internet sites and internet companies and pop-up website this and pop-up company that. And marketplace trust is something, believe it or not, the people being impacted the most by various scams and bad experiences are millennials now. People might think it's senior citizens. It's actually the youngest generation who has grown up, and all these companies are popping up on the internet, and they never think to check them out. A lot of them are F-rated companies. A lot of them are, not so good. And we just want people to really use BBB. It's a free service to go and just really do a little due diligence before you do business with this site. And there's a lot of fake internet sites now that will take a good company and just put up a website. So you really have to be careful with shopping online. That's a huge one.
Yeah.
And our problem is every dollar that's taken away in one of these companies is a dollar that could be spent at a really good business who's really upholding community standards and really thinks trust and marketplace ethics are important.
So if I saw something nice on the internet and I want to purchase it, I have to take a pause, go on BBB, look up the organization, and it should give me a fair idea of whether I have to continue with that transaction or not.
Right, and if you don't see this company, or if you don't see any kind of ratings, or you see bad ratings, you know not to do business with them, and really do your due diligence. There are pop-up sites all over the place right now. It's one of our biggest problems. In fact, it's our biggest problem from 2018. It's just risen exponentially, and so. Try to do business with companies that you've researched and are in the neighborhood. If they don't have a physical location, if you can't get back to them, if you have a problem, a lot of these sites won't have any phone numbers, they won't have any addresses. So if you have a bad customer experience, it's really tough to get any kind of response, and often you don't.
Okay, I know you have to leave, but last question though, is it that easy? Is it that easy that all I have to do is just copy or maybe type the name of the company in the search box of BBB website? That's it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And in the case of websites that you don't know, really take a close look at these websites. Do they have contact information? Is their information filled out? Are there errors on the website, which is usually a good tip-off to the rip-off, so to speak? And if do businesses with companies you can trust. Do business with businesses in your community. It really sets up a much better equal marketplace of trust.
I know I said the last question, but you want to?
Yeah, what I want to ask.
Okay, before you ask him, you mentioned the fee for small businesses. How about mid-size and large corporations?
So the scale in Chicago is just it's in the high 600s per year to be a member of BBB, and then it gradually goes up depending by employee size. And then once you get into a little bit higher category, it's a little bit more money. And you can pay for 2 or 3 years, get discounts, that kind of thing. And but it's really a great way for your brand to go out into this marketplace, which is turned pretty wild with the internet, and say, we are a business that has a background. We are a business that you can come to, and if you have a problem with it, we're in BBB, so we will have to answer your complaint.
What drives a company into a higher category? Is it the employees or the company's assets?
Employee size.
Okay, employee size.
It's employee size.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yes, what I was going to ask is, what were those grandpa business has been around 50 years or more? We think so. ABB doesn't matter, but have to have some accountability. How do you handle that?
So if a lot of these businesses have been in BBB for a lifetime, and they get in to exude a marketplace trust factor, and there are benefits for being found. But a lot of businesses simply belong to BBB because they want a fair and even marketplace. We have people who are in BBB just because they believe in marketplace trust, and they believe and they want to support this network of businesses and people that will regulate that.
And basically, like you said, there's no other large organization that is doing what you were doing.
Not at the level that we do. We mediate situations. We literally have mediators in our office. So if a business and a consumer can't come to agreement, we literally provide mediators for them to do that. So we really take it to the level of saying, here's the customer, here's the business. Let's find some type of solution.
And you're nationwide, of course.
We are nationwide.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Okay. Thomas Johnson, Director of Vice President of Better Business Bureau. You have been very great and helpful to the station, the show, and to our community. Thank you so much for your time, and we wish you the best in your next event, your next duty. We hope that we can have you here again soon.
It would be my pleasure.
Well, back on the show, and we'll go straight to this gentleman here. Like I said, before we went on break, Johnny Woods asked a question. Johnny Woods, yes, we're talking about the gentleman who is the CEO of and the founder of Global Ghana Airlines, whose inaugural flight is coming off on the 20th March of this year. You based the first part. He of course talked about how we started. Now, because it's Johnny Woods, okay, I'll brief you. I'll give you a little background of what we talked about. So he has over 30 years in the aeronautics industry, I'll say the airline industry.
Yes.
Okay, looks like we have a caller on the line. We'll take this call and then I'll continue with Johnny Woods. Hello, caller. Please go ahead. Okay, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
That's Joanna. That's one of my students.
Oh, okay, please go ahead.
I'm just calling to say that I'm congratulating Johnny O'Toole on his achievement with they're doing with the airline, and I am so happy for him.
Oh, did you say you're one of his students?
I used to be one of his students back in the day. Yes, sir.
Oh, brilliant! And what airline are you currently with now, or if you don't mind?
Well, the thing it was, I was with the Chicago Police Department at the time. I'm retired after 27 years.
Oh wow! That's brilliant. Thank you so much for contributing to the show. Uh, Thank you so much. And hopefully you would like to check out, take a trip to Ghana and you can be on his airline. All right. Have a wonderful evening, Joseph. You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh, bye. Okay. Before we continue with the discussion, as I wanted to, Johnny Woods, I'll come back to you. But Johnny O2 here, the CEO, is offering a free ticket.
Yes.
One free ticket.
One round trip ticket.
Okay, one round trip
All you have
ticket.
to do is pay taxes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All you have to do is okay. So one round to the fair. I mean, okay. Joseph missed that. After Joseph's call, the first two callers, okay, you're gonna get a first. The first two callers, the first one would get a round trip, non-stop from Chicago to Ghana. All right.
Yes.
And then the second one,
50%.
50% off. Okay. Then now mind you,
Pay taxes.
now, mind you, the first trip you eat, the plane ticket is going to be free, of course, but you pay taxes, and then the second caller will get 50% off. So, Johnny Woods, Johnny O2 has been in the aero. I'll give you a brief break. He's been in the aerospace industry for about 30 years. He attended the Aerospace Institute in Chicago. He majored in aeronautical engineering. He founded the global Ghana Airlines. He also, which is a subsidiary of Sister City International Airlines. He also founded ISO Aeronautics Training Institute at Part 61 Flight School.
That's when Michael Askew worked for.
Yes, Michael Askew is. If you are a follower of the Progressive Mind Show, anytime before we start a show, there's a gentleman that comes on to give us the weather and the weather, health, and sports updates, which is called the Captain Mike Show. So Captain Mike is a pilot with United Airlines, and coincidentally, he happens to be one of Johnny O2's previous students at ISO Training
Aeronautics, yes.
Right. And so that's a beautiful thing. The connection that was made today was so beautiful. He has about 30 years, of course, in the industry. He owns he's trained over 250 pilots. And you said you own two aircrafts?
Two aircrafts.
Okay. And then also a member of the IOPA, which is Aircraft Owners and Pilot Association. And so that is briefly for his background, for those who missed the show from the beginning. And we're going to talk more about his inaugural flight from Chicago. Please tell us, I know you're working with other airline companies or some companies. I don't know you want to mention them, but please go ahead. If you feel comfortable mentioning these companies, please go ahead. If you don't, just tell us. If you're not, just tell us about the inaugural flight.
Okay, the inaugural flight is scheduled for March the 20th. I will admit that we have tried about 2 times already.
Mm-hmm.
That's to indicate that we are willing to do the flight. We just don't have passengers. It just does not make business sense to fly an empty airplane. It's because customers want to see the airplane, wipe their feet and say, oh, this is real, or this isn't. It doesn't work like that.
Okay.
It doesn't work like American. It doesn't work like United. But what airlines do is to assess the route to be flown and determine whether or not it is profitable. If it's not profitable, airplane would not be designated.
Okay.
Now, since Ghana is our first run from Chicago O'Hare, we have to go through a couple of steps. First, the airplane has to be upgraded based on the requirements set by the FAA. The FAA is telling us that since this route have never been flown, the airplanes that have not been built for it, we have to take an existing airplane, do the modification, send it for inspection, pass, then we can put on a route. Okay. And the reason is, earlier, those airlines that were flying nonstop to Ghana only had one emergency stop.
Okay.
Having had problems on that one emergency stop, For us, the Federal Aviation is telling us we have to have 3 million system, plus 3 hours of extra fuel in case the flight cannot be continued.
Okay.
We meet those requirements.
Okay.
And because we met the requirement, we're ready to go. But
Okay.
when you sold some board,
Okay.
and if you don't buy a ticket, you're not going anywhere.
All right. Let me ask you this
Small
question.
detail there, yes.
There's an important question here. How can you assure people that their plane will be ready for flight on the day of? And how and where can they get these tickets?
Okay, the airplane is ready.
The plane is ready?
It is ready.
Okay.
You've gone through inspection already.
Actually, you showed me the plane, and
Yes.
it's the name of the plane is
It's a
Boeing,
Boeing 767-200ER.
and the ER means extended range.
Extended
Okay,
range.
so the Boeing,
300 extended range.
okay,
yes.
Boeing 767 300 ER. You can look
yes.
up that plane right now, and that's
Yes.
that's a plane that's available for
us.
for customers to fly to Ghana.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It carries with dynamo modification, which will be first class, but we'll be here to accommodate the 3-hour fuel needed. So our first class will be business class.
Okay.
Minimize weight, but increases the passenger seats.
Okay.
Economy 1, economy 2 is just one economy to get everybody on board and also meet the requirements set for by the FAA.
Are you working with any travel agencies at the moment?
We may touch with Jocelyn Travel Agency and also World Express, but I need more travel agents.
Okay.
Since we are not in what is called the GDS system, we are direct ticket purchase venue. But once we go through GDS, you can buy a ticket just about anywhere.
Okay.
And get your tickets.
Okay. Our time has been far spent, and if somebody wants to, how can they reach you? If somebody wants to know more and ask questions.
Oh, you have my number, right?
Okay. No, if you can say it well.
773.
Okay.
707-2245.
Okay.
That's direct.
Okay. The number again is
773-707-2245.
Is that email or something?
My email is O'Toole, OTOOLE at fly, FLY, GGA, golfalpha.com.
Okay. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. We have come to the end of our discussion this evening. I'll let you all give us your last words. I'll start from you, David.
My last words are pay attention to your finances. The statistics are that something like only 13% of people actually reconcile their accounts. That means 87% of the people only have a rough guess as to how much money they have at any point in time. That's why people start bouncing checks, spending money they don't have. That's what ruins your credit score. That's what makes it hard to buy a house, to get student loans, to build businesses. Pay attention to these things. Ask for help. Get some financial education. That's how you start your growth path.
Thank you so much, David, for that advice. Please.
It's never a good idea for airlines to fly airplanes empty, either for personal or business reasons. You have to have souls on board. And is that exchange of funds keeps the airline in the air,
Right?
because you can't compensate fuel. It must be purchased. You have to have the professionals that flies the airplane also must be compensated. So buy your tickets and let's go.
Look, the message is simple: buy your tickets and let's go. Before we end, we leave here. Finally, Babuba Kamara has a few comments. He just joined us. He says they want us to advance, but we have to follow thousands of rules that are made only for us. We become independent, and they say we need to grow. 15 years later, something else, something else, and again something else. Okay, Kamara, thanks for your comment. And Kamara is asking, what is the price range? Quickly.
It's the average is 1,500 round trip.
And then
that includes taxes.
Okay, so the average flight from
Chicago here to Accra is 1,500.
For your
average, for me.
For Global Ghana Airlines.
Ghana Airlines, yes.
Okay,
that includes taxes.
So the 20th, if you want to fly, it will be 1,500.
Yes.
Okay.
That includes taxes.
That includes taxes. Yes. Okay. But of course, you want to. I mean, the first caller got a discount, and so.
But he's the second guy, so he gets 50%.
Okay. He's the second caller. You're right. If you have any other questions,
Yeah.
he's giving out his number.
Doesn't count.
Oh, well, was it on Facebook? It has been a caller, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Did he call? No.
He called. That
He
was
called?
that was the first caller.
No. Look, beside the first, was there another?
Well, let me finish with this, and then we'll come to that. Okay, Jemima Kumiplans, you just joined us. Jemima, we have the first flight to Ghana from Chicago nonstop. So if you want to check it out, you know how to get me. No wahala. Okay, Rebecca Mode says good job. Johnny Owo says great show as always, guys. For all of you who join us on Facebook, God bless you. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you. To whom much is given, much is required is our motto here. And I believe that we are all called to live for something greater than ourselves. Next week, Tuesday, all these politicians running for office, the mayors, the aldermen, they're coming here on the Progressive Mind Show. Gentlemen, Johnny O'Toole from Global Ghana Airlines and the owner of ISO Aeronautics Training Institute, the pilot school in Lansing, David Laundy from Devon Bank. Gentlemen, thank you so much. God bless you. God bless your organizations. I wish you the best and hope that we come here and do this again.
Sound like a winner. Appreciate it. Yeah.
You're welcome. Listeners, it's been a wonderful time. God bless you all. And we will see you next week. Bye-bye.